All right, y'all, welcome back to another episode of Retro ReWire. My name is JJ, and today I want to talk about projectors. Now, before I get into that, I want to just state a little bit about the future of the channel. I am going to be introducing a number of mini-series, and for example, this episode is going to fall under the How We Game series. And in this How We Game series, I'm pretty much just going to talk about different display technologies, scalers, modded consoles, all sorts of gadgets that can potentially increase and give us a big benefit into how we game. So keep a lookout for that. I'm also going to be introducing a retro game hunting series, as well as game showcase, just a number of little mini series. So keep a lookout for that, which it means more content for all of you. But anyhow, let's get back to the episode. As I stated, I'm going to be talking about gaming on a projector, and I want to talk about the setup, cable management, the drawbacks to having a projector, and the pros, of course, and just kind of what I've done to incorporate it into my game room. The CRT is definitely still going to be the main way that I game on retro game consoles for a number of reasons, but it sits nicely on this new entertainment center. I have my laser disc up, I have my consoles up, I have two stereo receivers. The one in the bottom, the Technics, I'm actually not going to be keeping. I am going to be selling that one off. And yeah, I definitely like the look of this entertainment center. I think it kind of gives the room a little bit more of a modern look. So what we're gonna do is let me go ahead and show you some off-screen footage of the projector up and running, and then I'm gonna show you how I set it up and kind of how I manage the positioning, the screen, the cable management, and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and cut to some off-screen gameplay. And voila. And that'll kind of give you a frame of reference of how big it's projecting. Now, mind you, this game is running at 60 frames per second, and I'm recording at 24 frames per second. So the game is actually a lot more fluid in action. Anything that you see in relation to like little lines, noise, banding, what else? Just any little visual discrepancies that you see, I'm actually not seeing. I'm actually seeing a pretty clear and sharp picture, and it's freaking awesome. But look at this. This is very cinematic, and honestly, you notice a lot more details playing like this. But yeah, I mean, it's just like in your face. But look at that. The lago has never looked so beautiful. Haha. And yeah, this is like I said, it's running at 720p, but man, 1080p Ultra HD, who cares? Look at the size of this sucker. And like my urge to game and my urge to explain are like battling for my attention, because this is just so, I don't know, it's just so, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. But yeah, this is, let me go ahead and go to an area where there's some enemies. Now, as you can see up there, the boulder. Let's do some QTEs. Look at these dudes. Let me button mash. All right. Look at this guy in the hoodie. Sometimes I wear my hoodie. Oh, he got me in the back. What a coward. Oh, geez, right in the face. He just called me an SOB. No way, that guy's still alive after a shotty to the face? Okay, so now I'm gonna load some retro games on the PlayStation 4. This is Castlevania Requiem, which includes Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood, as you see up on the screen. Let's go into the options. Let's go to display effects, and see, you can have it running normal and it's still huge, but I'm gonna go all the way, man. Some scan lines. I don't really like the scan lines on the projector. I do like it naturally on the CRT, of course. Interlacing, no need for that. That makes sense if you're running it off a 1080i, but not on 720p. And there's like the smoothing. I'm just gonna leave it all off. And let's go and do Rondo of Blood. Let me do a shameless plug. If you haven't checked out my Let's Play series, I'm currently going through the Castlevania games. And in my latest video, I played through Castlevania Bloodlines, and I announced that I'll be playing Castlevania 3 as well as Castlevania Chronicle. But I'm actually gonna also be playing Super Castlevania 4, Rondo of Blood, and maybe a few other ones. And then before I move on to the next genre or franchise or series, whatever. Haha, sucker. But you know, playing these old games on this, it's freaking great. And I don't actually see it on this, but I do see it on the older consoles. But sometimes, you know, if you don't move, it's like super sharp, and then once you start moving, it gets like a little hazy, a little blurry. But I actually don't see any blurriness right now. But anyhow, this gives you pretty much an idea of how awesome it is to game on the big screen here. But anyhow, this is Rondo of Blood. Let me go ahead and cut to how I have things set up. What I want to show you guys here is a closer look at the screen. Well, I guess before that, this is the wall, and as you can see, this is kind of like the texture that I was talking about, and that's why having a screen is necessary for my game room, just because this texture shows up on the image and it just, you know, it just gives it a really nasty look. But anyhow, this is the screen. Now, as you can see, there's these little wrinkles here. Now, the actual material is wrinkle free, but the way that I have it mounted on the wall causes these little wrinkles in the corner, but they don't actually bother me, especially when I'm playing. And as a whole, I guess this is an economical choice to go with. Like I said, I paid about 13 bucks, and there are other options that are definitely a lot cleaner, and those options are ones that I'm going to be looking at in the future. And the reason why I didn't go for it right away was because I wasn't sure if I wanted the projector to be a part of my permanent game room, or if I wanted to decorate the wall, but I've opted to go with the projector route. And I think for the time being, this screen will definitely suffice, because those higher end screens that retract into their little housing, those, you know, are upwards of 200 bucks, so that's kind of pricey. But this screen actually included like these little pins here, these little adhesive hooks rather, and I have some here. That'll focus, but yeah, these are the adhesive hooks. Now, for the wall, when I tried putting these in the corners, they kept unsticking, and they were actually no good. The adhesive is pretty sticky, but for the kind of wall that I have, it's just no good. So as you can see there, I went ahead and I put in like these little push pins, and that gets the job done. And for the most part, this screen is, man, it's definitely pretty good, especially considering the money that I paid. And I think the only drawback is that sometimes it has a little bit of a bloom on the whites, and it just maybe it reflects like a tiny bit. I mean, it's such a minute detail, you know, that it's only gonna bug the more hardcore people. I mean, for me, for the most part, when I'm playing, I forget about it. No big deal. But yeah, this is the screen. I purchased it on Amazon Japan, because I am in Japan. But it is a screen that can easily be found on Amazon back home in the States. But yeah, that's the screen. Now let's go ahead and turn our attention to the projector itself. As you can see there, it's sitting in the second rack of the component rack. And yeah, the top, you know, just my consoles or my little handhelds, and the projector there is just kind of taking up the space. Now, let me go ahead and show you guys this. Let me go ahead and move the chair out of the way. These cables here, definitely have to work on the cable management, but I've just figured out where I'm gonna be placing it, so I'll definitely be getting some kind of cable hooks to kind of have the cables go through the back of the wall there, nice and neat. And my HDMI cable is actually going to this HDMI splitter. And the reason why is because all my devices are hooked up to this little Onkyo receiver, SA205HDX, and it has 3 HDMI in, 1 HDMI out, and I pretty much have the PS4, PS3, and Switch, sometimes the 360, sometimes the PS Vita TV. Those all go in there, and they kind of spit out the signal to both the projector and to my LCD monitor. I also have my computer hooked up, and I can project the image on my computer. So it makes it pretty cool. I have this S-video cable. Now this S-video cable is pretty long, and let me go ahead and remove the little cable tie there. But anyhow, HDMI cable, I could hook up back over here into this S-video a switcher, and I can have up to 4 S-video outs, or in, and then 1 out. And the way that I have it now is I have it going out or into the TV, and the TV itself actually has another, I can daisy chain, and I can go from the TV out into the projector in, but the only drawback to that is that I have to have the monitor on, and that's kind of a waste of power. And then also the electrical, the power cable is, it has a ground, but unfortunately all the power outlets here don't have a ground connection, so when I actually use the TV out, it gives me a little bit of electrical noise on the image, which I don't like. So that's why I just put the out on the switcher, and I just disconnect it when I want to play with the projector or with the PVM. All right, y'all, so let's take a closer look at the projector here. As I mentioned before, it's a Mitsubishi LVP HC910. I did buy this used at a hard off. I got it for about 20 bucks, and the lamp works great. And I could actually find the replacement lamp on Amazon, which is about 100 bucks, and it's rated between 2,000 to 5,000 hours. It has a high mode and a low lamp mode. I usually run it on low lamp mode because it's sufficient. Actually, that just switches off automatically. I have that on automatic. But as you can see there, we have the lens, pretty sweet looking. And this can actually be, there is a bracket where you can mount this on the ceiling, and that's actually the best way to mount it. I want to definitely look into that too. It is kind of heavy, but that's what we expect from a little bit higher quality stuff. Now this is, as you can see here, a DLP projector, and it has the 3 CCD business. And this here is just my DVI to HDMI adapter. We have a VGA connection. We have the component S-video in and composite, and as well as our power plug. This here, I forget what this is for, but this could actually be removed, and I think it's just some kind of filter or some kind of protector. I'm not really sure. The manual is all in Japanese, so I need to really study it. And then here we have all our functions. Now, unfortunately, since this was used and it was actually in the junk, there is no remote, and that's something that I would definitely like to get in the future. But all of my functions are here. I can get in the menu. I can switch between my input sources, you know, adjust the keystone, auto position, power on and off. This little lever here does just as it says. You could actually zoom in and it'll project even bigger. And then this little toggle here just kind of adjusts the focus. But yeah, pretty neat. Now, those little wavy lines that you see, that actually has to do with the sync issue of the camera shutter speed and whatnot. See, if I adjust it, if I make adjustments, you can kind of see that it's that it kind of goes a little bit crazy. And unfortunately, I can't, no matter what I do, typically when you set it to 60, it goes away, but it's not playing nice at the moment. So those little lines that are flashing through. That's just a result of the off-screen capture. But there we go. Got the classic PlayStation boot screen. Okay, so this is Castlevania Chronicle. This is the Japanese version. Gonna go into original mode because I love Castlevania Chronicle, but I definitely prefer the original over the changes they made in the arranged mode. And I think the arranged mode is a little bit easier. I like the game harder. Anyhow, let me cross over. Better for me to see what's going on behind the camera. So there you go. Now, again, you're gonna see like the little lines, the little sync lines going up and down. I don't actually see that, and it's crystal clear. Color is perfectly saturated. It looks awesome. So let me load up the save, and there you go. Look at this madness. Now, I'm gonna hit start here real quick. Gonna hit the start button, pause the game, and I'm gonna show you something just so you guys can get a little bit of reference. I have an iPhone 8 in my hands, and that's about the size of Simon. Maybe he's even a little bit larger. I have the original PlayStation 1 before DualShock controller, and as you can see, you know, pretty much the size of my hand. So it's huge, and I hope you guys kind of get an idea of what I'm seeing, kind of off-screen capture. Now, I am filming this bit in 30 frames per second because when I film in 24, I get all sorts of other little screwy, you know, all sorts of other, like, screwy things. Ooh. But anyhow, it looks phenomenal. Now, one thing, see how I move here and then I stop and everything gets super sharp? That's just inherent with the technology of the time. This was, like I said, released in 2004, and back then, I forget what the technical term is, but you know, the PSP suffered from it, the DS, the early LCD, ED TVs, as well as the early HD TVs, they all kind of suffer from that. But aside from that, actually when you're playing the game, you kind of forget about it. And like I said, what you gain, I don't know, it's just in your face. Right now it's about like, it's a little bit later in the day, it's almost 11 p.m. So I can't actually have the music blaring too loud. But around 5 o'clock here in Japan, it's pretty much dark and I can game, and since it's still early, you betcha I'm gonna blast that music. Tactical retreat. And yeah, don't worry about lag, because I'm not experiencing any lag. And then that guy, that little knight character that was on the bottom floor where I'm at, that was sliding towards my way, you know, I attacked him. And if there was lag, he would have hit me. I play a lot of fighting games, and yeah, like I said, I don't exhibit or I don't feel any lag whatsoever. So I'm just gonna play a little bit more so you guys can kind of see how grand of a game this is. I think this is my favorite Castlevania. Now, this upcoming room is one of my favorites, but you know, this really does kind of give retro games a even longer a longer life, because a lot of these games look super good. Freaking little flame knights. Oh. Anyhow. But yeah, this room is freaking awesome. I mean, look at this. This projector is almost ideal for retro games, just because you get the connections. You're not like really having to suffer with a lot of this bad stuff. Oh, that's hilarious. Anyhow, I'm not playing serious, you all know. I just want to kind of demonstrate what the projector is on a retro console. I've also played Super Nintendo, Sega Saturn, Dreamcast, if you consider that retro. I even hooked up the PSP 3000 using the S-video cable. I don't have a component cable for it, but I do have the S-video, and it looked awesome. But anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and I guess I'll end it on this. You know, some of the downsides is, yes, you have to wait until it's later in the evening. You can't game during, you know, sunny days or during the day, just because it's just too faint. Replacing the lamp, you know, it's a perpetual cost, so that's something that's always going to be something that will need replacing with the, you know, as you game. And then also the placement. It's better to hang it off from the ceiling so you can, you know, pass through without, and people can pass through without kind of interrupting the flow of the image there. But aside from that, I think the pros definitely outweigh the cons. But anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and cut back to me, and then we're gonna wrap up the video. All right, y'all, so we're pretty much at the end of the episode. If you've stuck around this long, a big thank you. And this is pretty much how we game and gaming on a projector. Now, I think the benefits to having a projector are super huge and super worth it, and I highly recommend it. And that's both if you're playing modern games as well as retro games and everything in between. It's just a wonderful experience. Now, it does have its drawbacks, but as I keep, you know, kind of stating throughout the video, I think the pros are definitely outweigh the cons. But anyhow, with this series, How We Game, I'm going to be talking about modded consoles, display technologies, scalers, you know, anything that could potentially benefit and increase our gaming pleasure and experience. So keep a lookout for, you know, future episodes. But anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. You know, this is Retro ReWire. My name is JJ. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you all very soon. Ciao. Oh, and there we go. One of the corners. It's that same corner. This option. Ah, there goes another one.